harder to get. NBC News reporting that since 2021, Florida has experienced four major hurricanes: Ian, Helene, Idalia, and Milton, and premiums have climbed by nearly 30% statewide. Florida residents can now expect to pay almost $10,000 a year on average in premiums, making the state the most expensive place in the U.S. to buy homeowners insurance. If that can happen in California, if that can happen in Florida, okay, California, okay, New York, okay, Virginia, okay, a lot of other places that may be in that kind of path. When we come forward, we are sharing with you, I should say resharing with you, a conversation we had with Cullen Jones, an Olympic gold medalist swimmer, in light of the death of Malcolm Jamal-Warner during a swimming accident in Costa Rica. We think today is a great day to reprise this conversation. So when we come forward, you don't want to miss the conversation with Cullen Jones, Olympic gold medalist swimmer. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time. Whenever news breaks, while we're on the air, it's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580. And we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and it's not every day you have an opportunity to speak to a real Olympic gold medalist, and not just any old Olympic gold medalist. He's the first African-American swimmer to hold a world record as one of the most decorated Black swimmers in U.S. history. Cullen Jones has been a leading advocate for swimming education and drowning prevention. The weather's getting nice here in D.C. and L.A. and across the country and around the world, and there's no time like the present for us to develop some courage and some skills to
Love it.
hit the water. And so with
Yes.
that, welcome to the show, Cullen.
Thank you so much for having me. And I love how you put that. The courage to do
Yes.
something that we keep being told that we don't do. So yes, we need that courage.
So let's start with your origin story.
Mhm.
What attracted you to the world of aquatics? What attracted you to become, an Olympian in swimming?
Well, I like to say I had humble beginnings when it came to that. I nearly drowned at the age of 5. I was born in New York, grew up in New Jersey. My parents knew that I loved being around water, so they took me to Dorney Park in Pennsylvania. And I was fully supervised. Lifeguards were there. My parents were there. I wasn't horseplaying. I came down the ride, and all it took was someone yelling at my dad to hand the inner tube to the next person. And he didn't see me come out of the ride and splashed right into the water. That split second had me underwater where everyone was looking for me, didn't know. And we know now that a child can have brain damage from being underwater for more than 30 seconds. And I was underwater for nearly 40. Had to be resuscitated, pulled me out. The next word out of my mouth, the next words were, "What's the next ride we getting on?" Because I was 5 at a water park and didn't want to leave. But my parents were like, "Never again. We're getting you into swim lessons."
Wow. And so then, I would imagine that was a little traumatic, not just for you, but for your parents. And so how did your parents get over the trauma connected to you and swimming to give you the space to explore swimming for sport?
I think part of it, my dad, thankfully, somewhat knew how to swim. My mom is still learning now to be comfortable around the water. She's getting much better now. But we know that if there's only one parent that knows how to swim, there's an 88% chance that that child will learn how to swim. Conversely, there's a 13% chance if neither parent knows how to swim. So I consider myself very lucky that 1, my dad knew how to swim, and 2, they were very open about me choosing a sport that wasn't theirs. My mom played tennis. My dad was a basketball player. So when I chose swimming, they were like, "Wait, you want to do what?" But they were very supportive. Swimming took them by surprise.
Wow. Well, I mean, swimming, it takes a lot of people by surprise, apparently,
Correct.
particularly Black folks. I didn't know this, but today nearly 64% of
Mhm.
Black children have little to no swimming ability, putting them at a greater risk of drowning. Talk to us about your passion for advocacy around swimming education, particularly for Black kids.
Yeah. So, I mean, I believe it took a village. In 2008, when I was able to be on that relay, set the world record, become the first Black American to be a Olympic world record holder. It was something that I didn't take lightly.
Why don't you go ahead and say that again for the people in the back?
I became the first Black American to hold a world record in the sport of swimming after more than obviously 64 years of Team USA being dominant in the sport. I became the first to hold a world record. And so for me, it was obviously I had humble beginnings. I wasn't thinking that this was something that I was, here to do. I just loved being competitive and racing. But I knew at that moment that I was going to be shifted into this place of being a role model. It didn't come to fruition until I got home, where people were using my name next to Arthur Ashe and Tiger Woods and Venus and Serena. And a lot of people watch the Redeem Team because you'll see me on there, but I'm sitting next to Kobe and I'm sitting next to D Wade. And those two guys, I mean, when I tell you schooled me, like I had no idea. And they didn't look at me like, "Oh, well, I'm basketball, you're swimming." They looked at me as peer, and which was already blowing my mind. But the conversation was, your life's going to change and you are now going to be the face for our culture. And I had no idea how right they were going to be, but I take it very seriously because I believe representation is everything. I picked up some golf clubs after I watched Tiger. Not very well, but I did do it because I saw someone that looked like me doing it. So I take it very seriously.
I think that's incredible, and I also appreciate how you take seriously not just the skills to swim, but really knocking down some of the barriers. And so let's talk a little bit about affordability. We know that many communities of color including but not limited to Black folks,
Mhm.
lack affordable safe pool access and swim programs. We're heading into the summer. Talk to us about what you and your team are doing to address that.
Yeah. So one of the things that, after speaking to Kobe and D Wade about being a face, I still came home and felt somewhat lonely. I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me. And then I was introduced to diversity in aquatics, and it wasn't just swim, it was water polo, it was scuba, it was artistic swimming. And I loved it so much. Not only did I partner, I became a board member of diversity in aquatics. And so when we talk about access, we know, especially in the Black community, access has been one of the largest reasons why there is a barrier for Black Americans not to know how to swim. 64% of Black Americans don't know how to swim. 54% of Latino Americans don't know how to swim. And 38% of Caucasians don't know how to swim. This is a US problem. But particularly in the Black community, we're talking about segregated racism. We're talking about all the way back to right after a gold medal, I went to the International Hall of Fame. And a big mentor of mine, Bruce Weigo, showed me illustrations of African swimming. Now, I just came back from the Olympics. Team Nigeria has a team. Team South Africa has a team.
Mhm.
So to me, I'm like, well, what's going on? So I tried to really dig in to figure out what were the issues. And it started from slavery. Africans would try to swim away back to Africa, but slave owners would tell them, you don't know how to swim. You don't know how to swim. You don't know how to swim. I can go to a barbecue tomorrow with my people and still hear Black swimming. We don't do that. We're still saying the same narrative to ourselves. And that's why this is so important. I love working with diversity in aquatics and being a board member for diversity in aquatics, because we're really trying to lower that barrier to entry. We have a website where you can find a pool, diversityinaquatics.org/find a pool. It geo-targets where you can get swim lessons to be safer on the water. May is International Water Safety Month. Man, we're trying to save as many lives as possible. And the thing is, we see a lot of things in the media. We see a lot of things that are coming at us at a daily rate. We actually have the answer to this problem, and it's swim lessons. Find a pool, get the swim lessons, be safe around the water. I need more people that look like me getting gold medals at the Olympics. Come on, man.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm sure so many of our leaders, learners, and listeners that are tapping in are enjoying this conversation, hopefully a little inspired. I didn't know that May was International Water Safety Month. And so all the more reason for us to find a pool, find the skinny on some lessons and go from there. But I really appreciate you bringing up this issue from a diasporic lens, and really disrupting some assumptions that are out there around, Black people's ability and interest in swimming. You mentioned that Nigeria and South Africa have Olympic teams. I have traveled to the continent a number of times, and I've witnessed Black people enjoying the beach there like we enjoy
100%.
the beach here. There are Black people who enjoy the beaches in the Caribbean as we enjoy the beaches here. And so much about what I love about what you're doing is that you are disrupting some of the assumptions that folks make about Black people and that Black and brown folks make about ourselves when it comes to swimming and water safety.
I just got back from NCAAs, and I could not be more proud, not only to be a Black man that swims, but to see two of the fastest men in the shortest events, 50 free, 100 free, which would be the same events that basically Usain did in track, swimming the events that I swim. Jordan Crooks and Josh Leando, 1-2 in both the 50 and the 100 freestyle. It just made me sit back. I had to sit back for a minute. Not only did the tears start coming, but it was just to see the evolution of where we're going. And Jordan's from the Cayman Islands, like you said. You see it in the Caribbean. You see people of color that are enjoying the water. It's here that we need to just stop saying to ourselves, this is something we don't do. We're continuing that narrative. And before anyone says, well, my body, all of the, don't tell me that. I don't want to hear it. In 1980s, we heard a correspondent say Black people don't swim because of their bone density. Let me tell you right now, I've been to 2 Olympics. I've got 4 medals, 2 gold, 2 silver. I got a world record that still stands. I can't float. It has nothing to do with floating. It has everything to do with learning your body in the water. That's why we are
Wait a
trying
minute,
to
wait a minute, wait a minute.
I know
Wait a
I'm
minute,
waiting for
Cullen.
it.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Hold on. I can't wait to let you just say that and keep it pushing. You're telling me that you, Mr.
Yes.
Olympic gold medalist,
Yes.
you can't float?
No, because muscle doesn't float.
So everybody can't float, right? So if you can't float, that don't mean nothing.
It doesn't mean anything. Some people are more predisposed to being able to float. I'm not one of those people, but that's not the barrier to entry. It should not be the barrier to entry to learn to swim. Learning to swim is about going and learning how your body works in the water. My body is going to be different from your body. That's different from Michael Phelps's body. That's different from LeBron's body. It doesn't matter who you are. Being in the water is what shows you how are you manipulating the water, kicking the water to try to bring yourself up. And that's what you learn when you have proper swim lessons. So like I said, we got the answer, man. We just got to get people to the pool.
Wow. I'm mind blown because I thought, because I'm representing for the thick boys, right? And so I thought, well, maybe I just don't float because I'm a little thicker. Ain't no little Twinkie nothing going on over here.
No, honestly, it's all about your bone density, and it's all about the muscle that's in your body. But again, whether you can float or not float is not a determiner of whether you can swim or not. Everyone can learn to swim. Every single person. And here's the thing. I nearly drowned. So I empathize with so many people out there that have had negative experiences around the water. But we got to be strong. We got to have the courage to stand up to that and have a positive experience. Because I promise you, there's so many kids that I've worked with that like have negative experiences. As soon as we have that one positive experience, off to the races.
So Cullen, let's talk a little bit about just sort of the therapeutic value of swimming. I was on location for about a year in Greater Detroit, and when I was off air, one of the things I enjoyed doing the most was going to the gym, and they had a saltwater pool, and so I would hit the pool most days, and it became my therapy. Right? It's interesting. Like whenever you're in sort of like a, whether it's a high stress job, when you are leaving work, and sometimes you just feel like you're sometimes carrying the weight of the moment, of the world on your shoulders.
Yes.
There's something about being in the water and being weightless that I found to be incredibly therapeutic. Is it just me?
No, it's not just you. And I love that you've been bit by the bug, that you're in the water as well. And that's why it's so soothing. It's one of the natural elements for a reason. It is unbelievably, it's a second home for me. And I've been doing it all my life. My career was based on how fast I swam, and I still have never lost the love for the sport or water. I always say when I have the hardest days, the one thing I know I can do is go to the pool and just it'll go away for me. So there's so many different uses of it, whether it be therapy, whether it be great workout and in a way for you to get yourself into that summer body that everyone keeps talking about. But more importantly, I think what a lot of people don't recognize is it's so healing that a lot of my basketball, football friends, my track folks, where do the chiropractors, where do all the PTs, where do they tell you to go when you tweak something or hurt something?
That's right.
Straight to the water. So I'll sit there and I was swimming practices and I'm looking over and I got my buddies, they're running and they're on the bikes because the water is healing. It's easier on the joints. You're able to do more in it. And so there's so many properties to water that we underutilize when we don't know how to swim. And can I talk about one other thing?
You can, of course you can. You can talk about as many things as you want to. You're a gold medalist.
I appreciate
we want to
that.
hear from you.
Do you know how much more fun? That's right, I said it. More fun. Vacation is when you know how to swim. I'm telling you, man. We see all these memes, we see all these things where People of color are like, they're at the party, they're at the barbecue, and the pool is empty.
This is true. This is very
this.
true. This is very true, Cullen. I have been
Yeah.
to a lot of summer soirees,
Yes.
summer parties.
Yes.
And it's true. Like, people will eat all around the pool, and if somebody dares to get in the pool, we looking at them like, you getting in the pool?
What you doing?
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other part of it is product, right? And so a
Right.
lot of people are like, well, I paid good money for this product, right? And so, I don't want to have to go reapply.
And it's funny that you bring that up, right? So the University of UNLV, the University of Memphis did a study, and there's 3 major reasons why, especially people of color, don't learn to swim, right? The number one being fear. And so a lot of what we're seeing is that systematic fear that we've had generationally. And then the second one is parental backing. So again, back to the generational piece. You see parents that don't teach their children to swim because they themselves feel helpless, because God forbid something was to happen, they don't know what to do themselves. And to bring it right back to what we were just talking about, the third is physical appearance. Ladies, hair, I get it. My mom is black. I used to have more hair than this. I get it. I get it.
Me too.
I understand. And men with small suits, wearing small suits. Listen, when it comes to the suits, you can find board shorts, you can find bigger shorts to feel comfortable. So please don't make that a barrier to entry.
Cullen,
yeah.
Cullen, when we come forward, I want to probe that a little bit. Really, I want to go through just sort of your short list of very practical things that we can all do that will inspire us all the more to get in the water, and to make peace with the water, and to develop the skills to safely navigate the water. We're talking to Olympic gold medalist Cullen Jones. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
The audience is listening.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The FIFA World Cup will be held next year on July 19th at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams helped kick off the one-year countdown, with the region expecting around 1 million visitors during the tournament. Rapper Tyler, the Creator, has released his new album, Don't Tap the Glass, featuring 10 tracks. He teased the project's title during his Friday performance at Barclays Center. And former Louisville, Kentucky officer Brett Hankison has been sentenced to 33 months in prison for violating a Black woman, Breonna Taylor's, civil rights during a botched 2020 raid. He fired blindly into her apartment, though none of his bullets struck anyone. The Justice Department had recommended just 1 day behind bars, a move slammed by Taylor's family and Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg, who said Hankison deserved a much harsher sentence. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Also moving in Lawndale, a crash on the 405 northbound before Hawthorne Boulevard is blocking the carpool lane. Delays away from Crenshaw Boulevard. Also Anaheim Hills, 91 eastbound before the 241. It's a wreck that's out of lanes away from Weir Canyon is where you're on the brakes. And also as you make your way through Azusa, the eastbound side of the 210 before Vernon, that's a crash in the left lane. You're on the brakes here overall in stretches away from Buena Vista out of Burbank.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Veteran point guard Chris Paul is coming back to the Clippers for his 21st and final season in the NBA. The 40-year-old Paul signed a one-year deal with the Clippers as a free agent. He told the team he intends to retire after the season. Paul played 6 years with the Clippers from 2011 to 2017 and became one of the team's all-time performers. Paul's 4,023 assists with the Clippers is a franchise record. Paul's family lives in LA. He told his agent he wanted to end his career with his family. Paul chose the Clippers over Milwaukee, Dallas, and Charlotte. The Washington Commanders are not the only sports team President Trump is demanding to change their nickname. Trump wants the Major League Baseball Cleveland Guardians to go back to their original name of the Indians. Trump wants the Commanders to return to the Redskins. Owners of both teams have said they are not changing their nicknames. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yay, yay! During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent, and the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember,
No warrant, no key. My privacy. You don't have to speak. No lawyer inside. Don't say a thing. Yeah, we all got rights.
Hey, we all got rights. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a whole lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me.
National news of consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai. He is the Cullen Jones, Olympic gold medalist, and he's here promoting diversity in aquatics. He's on a mission to increase access to swimming pools and highlight the historical barriers that have prevented many Black folks and underserved communities from learning how to swim. It's no time like the present to just sort of lean in to the healing powers of the water, dare I say.
Yes.
Do you feel that way, Cullen? Do you feel like, going to swim for you is it more of a ritual for you? Do you feel the healing power, even though it's really, big part of your job?
Yeah.
Or does it just feel like work to you these days?
For a while, it did feel like work. And I think that was a big reason. I always said when I was training and, shooting to represent the country, if I stopped having fun with it, then I was going to retire. And that ultimately was the reason why I retired, was that there was just so much pressure. And I felt like I had accomplished everything that I needed to accomplish for the sport, at least in the water. For me now, it is back to being healing. I don't do it all the time. I do other activities to try to stay fit and in shape. But water, going back to the pool, is always the place that I feel the most comfortable. I feel like I'm home when it comes to the pool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally picking up what you're putting down in terms of that feeling of belonging at the pool. And I think it's a really special thing. I think it's part of why you are on the mission that you're on to promote diversity in aquatics. But Cullen, I've got to ask you, with the political headwinds blowing the way they are in this country, where all things diversity, equity, and inclusion are at odds with what's in vogue, or at least what feels in vogue, if you're watching some of the national headlines. Talk to us about how you're navigating the waters, pun intended, when it comes to advancing diversity in aquatics.
Listen, the words are quite triggering for a few people. And I think for me, navigating the waters, all puns intended, of course, the most important thing is when you look at the numbers, when you look at what the CDC says when it comes to drownings, this is not a political thing. This is bipartisan. You've got 64% of Black Americans don't know how to swim, 54% of Latino Americans don't know how to swim, and 38% of Caucasians don't know how to swim. This is a U.S. problem. And so what we're trying to do, especially at Diversity in Aquatics, is to celebrate every single person that is around aquatics. But we do understand that the history is the history. We want to make sure that we address the history properly. And again, it doesn't take much to understand that when we start looking at these drownings, we have the answer. As you said, there's a lot of things that we see in politics right now. We see it all over the news, but there's not a lot of answers to a lot of things. When it comes to these drowning rates, we have the answer. It's access. We have the access. Diversity in Aquatics has the website for people to learn where they can find pools. And again, once you learn to swim, there's an 88% chance that you will be safer around the water. I'll take those odds any day.
And it's a very heart healthy sport.
Yes.
And so, as somebody who has, cardiovascular related issues that run on both sides of the family, swimming is definitely something I gravitated to on that level. Cullen, in our remaining minutes with you, I want to give you an opportunity to give us some very practical tips that will motivate us to make summer 2025 the summer that we get in the water, that we get our aquatic education, and we leave behind some of those outdated ideas about Black and brown folks in the pool. And so, what are some very practical things that we can do to motivate ourselves when we're not listening to A More Perfect Union featuring Cullen Jones?
I love how you see that up. One of the big things, again, we know access was an issue. It's still an issue in many areas. We call them pool deserts. There are places where bodies of water are hard to get to. But most important, most families that know that are in pool deserts don't know that they are. And so using different technologies like diversityinaquatics.org/find a pool, going to USA Swimming, who also has a way for you to find different groups, whether it's the Y, Red Cross, just being knowledgeable enough to know where you can get those lessons is already the first step. The second one is actually getting those swim lessons. Now, we all know that crazy uncle that says, oh, it's survival. We'll just throw you in. You'll figure it out. No, we are not teaching that. We want you to be safer around the water. And the best way to do that is to learn by having proper instructions. Now, I know everyone likes PFDs, personal flotation devices. Okay, let me say,
not to be confused with PDAs.
PFDs. No. PFDs. Listen, especially as parents, okay, we real quick to throw our kids into a life jacket and think, oh, they're fine. If there is room in that life jacket, the child is not safe. If there's room for the adult is not safe. So we really want to make sure that they're Red Cross certified when it comes to the PFDs, making sure that they are well put onto the body so that you are safe on that is very, very, very important. And then, especially, let me speak to my Black and brown community. When we saw the findings from UNLV and University of Memphis, The third biggest thing was physical appearance. And that's men wearing small Speedos. I work for Speedo, so I get it. But we have other things. You don't have to be swimming in a Speedo necessarily or in a brief. You can be wearing.
And let me just say, no shame in that game.
No shame.
Look,
No shame.
If anything, you may have a whole range in your collection, right?
I'm just saying, we got white ones for the white party. We got everything that you need. We got you. But you don't have to wear that. There are so many different suits that you can wear. Don't think that that should be the barrier to entry. You can wear anything you want, but get in the pool. And now for my ladies, I got a black mama. I get it. Hair is important. It is a big piece of our culture. I get that. But is it worth your life? It is not. So here's my challenge. Put your hair in braids. Take one summer. Learn to swim. Once you know how to swim, it's like riding a bike. You never forget. Invest one summer to learn to, let it be this summer, to learn to swim. Save your life, save a life of someone else. Grab a friend. We all know somebody who doesn't know how to swim. Bring them to the pool. Let's get safe around the water this summer.
I really like that. There's all very practical protective styles for your hair, right? Let's erase that barrier. And you bring up a really good point, which is, learn how to swim, if not for yourself, to be in the strongest possible position to be able to save somebody else's life, right?
Absolutely.
Because the chances of being on a beach or out somewhere and, somebody else, is experiencing some sort of distress in the water, right? Maybe they can swim, but they're experiencing sort of a severe health event. And so, you want to make sure that that you can show up. Our thanks to Olympic gold medalist Cullen Jones for all the great work you're doing promoting diversity in aquatics. A reminder to folks that May is International Water Safety Month. There's no time like the present to take a dip in the water safely.
That's it.
And if people go to diversityaquatics.org, you can check out a pool near you.
Yes. And if you need any more help, you can contact me on all social medias at Cullen Jones. Very quickly.
Cullen, is there a discount code with Speedo for folks who want a little?
Let me work on that one. Let me work on that one.
You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Thank you, Cullen.
Thank you.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai. You might have remembered just earlier we were sharing about the release of the MLK FBI file. The release of the files happened. Over 230,000 records have been released. And as we transition into the quiet part out loud, I thought very fitting that we share the reaction from Bernice King, the daughter of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Bernice A. King has spoken out in Vanity Fair as the government released the files of her father, Martin Luther King Jr. Bernice King sharing with Vanity Fair quotes, "Today, I'm not writing in my role as CEO of the King Center to address the government's recent release of assassination records. Today, instead, I wonder why I have to be confronted once again with something that was very confusing and distressing for me as a 5-year-old. I'm honestly not prepared to revisit the gruesome details of this painful history. For me, there's no real value in it. There's only reliving the trauma. We've got some difficult days ahead," Daddy said on the eve of his murder, a cruel act of state-sanctioned violence. His words were prescient. "There are grave risks now, as there were then, in fighting for justice through nonviolence, advocating for the poor, and opposing war. I encourage a collective focus on reviving the revolutionary, love-centered movement that my parents and other courageous, hopeful people cultivated. I implore the global community, which my father called the World House, to think higher, to love deeper, and broaden our coalitions for the common good." Those are the words of Bernice A. King, words she shared with Vanity Fair in reaction to the release of those FBI records about her father, Martin Luther King Jr. So many folks out there calling out the hypocrisy of releasing these records of Martin Luther King Jr. When so many folks have been calling for the release of the Epstein files. And so it's hard to not see the politics. It's hard to not wonder about the politics that are afoot here in the release of, these set of records from decades ago versus records that are not nearly that old. So those are the words of Bernice King, the daughter of Martin Luther King Jr. We felt it very appropriate, very fitting to share her feelings on the matter because, to so many of us, Martin Luther King was a champion of civil rights. He was a true patriot. He was a global leader. He was a movement leader. But to Bernice King, he was dad. Or as she said in the Vanity Fair post, she was daddy. And I think sometimes, although there's a lot of interest from people wanting to always know more about world events, I think sometimes we forget that these people also had a family that have had to find some sort of way to heal, that have had to find some sort of way to make peace when their heart has been broken into a million pieces. And so I want to end our time together remembering the humanity of not just Martin Luther King Jr., but his kinfolk, as articulated by his daughter, Bernice King. I also want to again extend our heartfelt condolences to the family of Malcolm Jamal-Warner, to the close friends of Malcolm Jamal-Warner, to everyone that has ever watched an episode of Malcolm and Eddie or The Cosby Show or any of the programs that he's had a hand in. We all just feel connected to Malcolm Jamal-Warner. We all feel like we lost a family member of our own. You know, we all felt like in some way we grew up with Theo Huxtable. And it's hard to imagine that he has transitioned, but he has. And I hope in some way today's show has honored him and has paid tribute. And for folks out there that maybe haven't thought much about water safety, for those out there who may not know how to swim or may not, think it important to learn how to swim, if not for them, for folks that may be distressed in the water near them. I hope today's conversation with Cullen, the Olympic gold medalist, I hope it causes you to reconsider and make sure that this summer and every summer and all year that we're getting in the water, having mastered some of the most important insights and bits of knowledge when it comes to water safety. You never know when that training is going to come in handy for you yourself or someone you love. And so I hope today's conversation with Cullen inspired you to revisit that idea of swim lessons. I hope it inspired you to strongly consider that, being 64% of Black folks can't swim. We're going to have to leave it there. My thanks to the entire village that helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our sound engineer, Brother Andy, as well as our show producers, Faraji, Art, Journey, and each and every one of you. We curate the show daily with you in mind. Remember, do what you can from where you are with what you have. By all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.